Hi everyone, my name is Catriona Plunkett from Golden Egg Holistic in Ireland. So as part of the FHT Stay at Home CPD initiative, which is a fantastic idea, I'm going to show you a very simple yet powerful reflexology technique that you can use with babies. So it's called the circle technique, and I'm going to use this model to show you how you use that technique basically. Okay, so the circle technique, it's very simple. We're basically using a circle. So we're going to begin by working the cranial nerves and the spinal reflex with the circle technique. And the reason that I like to start with both of these is because very young babies, you tend to just get a few minutes really. You don't get a full hour like you would with adults. So if you only have a few minutes to work with a baby, if you're using the technique on those cranial nerves and the spinal reflex, then you're covering all those cranial nerves and all the body systems that they're branching off into, and also the spine and central nervous system. So you're basically getting a full treatment in those few minutes. Okay, so I like to start with those. So on the toe pads, using finger or your thumb, whichever you like, we're going to circle clockwise. Minimum 3 times, nice and gentle, yet firm, not tickly. Babies or adults don't like to have their feet tickled. So each of those toe pads, if it's a particularly long toe, you could also circle, second circle on the neck of the toe. Just make sure you're covering all of that toe pad. Nice and gentle, nice and rhythmic, not too slow, not too fast. Find a good steady pace. And always checking in with baby to make sure baby is happy and content and they're not showing any signs of discomfort. They're not pulling away, they're not crying. Okay, so that's circling the toe pads. Then onto the spinal reflex. So on the spinal reflex, on the inside of the foot here, from the inside of the big toe, follow all the way down the curve of the foot, down the arch of the foot. So again, several fingers or thumb, whichever is more comfortable, start on the inside of the big toe, and you're going to circle, using your circle technique, all the way down the spinal reflex. Babies tend to love this spinal reflex. It's a favourite with babies and children in general, and adults. You know, it's like a massage of the central nervous system. So it's not just the actual spine we're working here, it's the central nervous system. So it's a really powerful one. It's a really important one, the spinal reflex, to go back over several times during your treatment, whether that's with baby or adult. Okay, we're getting into those reflexes, just as powerful, just as effective as we would with a thumb walk. Okay, so all the way down that spinal reflex. Okay, checking in with baby all the time to make sure they're okay, and you can finish off with a little stroke as well. So then on to our shoulder. So again, along the shoulder line, we'll use that circle technique. We'll bring it down into the lung and the chest. You can do small little circles here or slightly larger circles. Lovely technique for helping baby if they have a chesty cough, to get that phlegm up. Let's just get extra circulation, extra blood flow into that area. Okay, a very important one then for everyone as well is the diaphragm reflex. So again, we're going to circle along that diaphragm. And while we're doing the diaphragm, another important reflex in this area is the solar plexus. So press thumb on solar plexus and gently rotate on that point. Again, that can be a nice point to start the treatment with, to finish the treatment with. You can bring it in at any stage during the treatment. You can mix this up how you like, depending on the baby's needs. So you'll see two large circles left on the foot here. So we've all the upper abdominal area, so the liver, the stomach, all the areas of the upper abdominal, and we're going to circle with our thumb, nice big circles, clockwise. We always use clockwise when we're circling the baby's foot. And the good thing about this technique, the good thing about working with babies is that this technique is the very same on the left foot and the right foot. We're using the very same technique. It's not varied at all. Because we're just using circles and we're working clockwise, it's different in that in the adult we have to work up the ascending colon across the transverse colon. Here we're circling and we're going to cover all of that reflex. So that's the upper abdominal area, and now we're going to work that colon, large intestines. So a very important reflex to work for babies, because for a lot of babies digestive issues are an issue, colic, wind, reflux, maybe constipation. When babies are moving on to solids, they can often become constipated. So I would always advise parents, what do you feel when you're working over that area in the heel? Does it feel spongy? Is it red? Is there little patches of red? Does it feel like bubble wrap? That bubble wrap gritty texture can often be trapped wind. And funnily enough, if you're working the left foot and the right foot, it can feel completely different. It can feel like two completely different feet. So often in babies, the left foot, which is corresponding to the end of the colon, that can be the area that has more trapped wind than on their right foot, which is interesting. So trapped wind, and you'll feel the more you work, those bubbles will start to dissipate. Okay, and then the spongy texture. Sometimes you'll feel a spongy texture. That can be constipation. That can be a full. That can be the large intestines quite full. So don't be afraid to use good pressure when you are working with babies. We're always checking in with them. If you see babies starting to pull back, the toes are starting to crawl in and they're pulling back or kicking you with the other hand, with their other foot, pay attention. That's a good sign that they've had enough and that maybe they're becoming overstimulated. So always watch babies' cue. Always watch are the babies happy? And if you feel like they've had enough, if they're starting to become uncomfortable, it's time to pull back and try it again later. A few minutes for a very young baby is plenty when it comes to reflexology. So several minutes can be just enough. So that colon one again, so working clockwise, using your thumb, it's so simple. You don't have to worry about thumb walking, finding ascending colon, transverse colon. You're just circling the heel with your thumb, and the beauty of it is that technique you can use on both feet. It's the very same techniques. Everything we're doing on this foot we can do on the right foot as well. Okay, so that heel, circular technique. Okay, so that is the colon. So we have worked all of the plantar area of the foot. We started off with the cranial nerves, we did the spine, shoulder reflex, went into the lungs and the chest. Then we did diaphragm and the solar plexus, all the upper abdominal area, including the stomach. Watch out for that little, sometimes stomach can be a tender area as well, especially in babies who have reflux. And then we covered all of the colon area, okay, and again, watching out for what do we feel, textures, always looking at the colours. And feedback from babies. Babies will give you feedback. They can't talk, but they can certainly communicate with us. So that's all of our plantar. And then on to the dorsal area. So what do we have left to work here? So we have the lymphatic system. So on the top of the foot, we can use finger or thumb, and we can use circles all the way down those lymphatic ducts. Minimum of 3 times, but as many times as you like. And if baby is happy to receive, you can work as long as you like. So gentle little circles all the way down the lymphatic ducts. Very important area for boosting the immune system. Okay, and I am demonstrating just quite fast, but I would really slow that down and make sure it's really gentle, really slow, really nurturing. Then into the heel area or into the ankle area. So we're going to circle this ankle. So the ankle then represents around the hip area. So this is a lovely one to work when babies starting to move a little bit more. So when they're starting to crawl, when they're starting to walk. If babies have a history of clicky hip or any ailments in that area, it's absolutely important one to work. So with thumb or finger, I'm just going to circle the ankle bone. Okay, you can do both at the same time if you like. Or just one at a time. Okay, to finish the technique you could try just circling the solar plexus. You can finish with the spine if that's a favourite of babies. You could finish with a circle technique down the spine. So generally that technique, so that routine took us maybe 5 minutes. If baby was happy to receive more, you could go back and do the very same routine again. Or you can finish with that routine. It's quite effective just within the 5 minutes. But you can repeat that routine, absolutely. So that's just one technique. The circle technique is just one that we, as part of our Baby Reflexology and instructor training course here at Golden Egg, which is certified by FHT. I hope you have enjoyed this video and I hope you get to use them, and I hope you all stay safe and well. Okay, take care. Thank you.